Hey everybody, it's Jeremy, and welcome to a new episode of Sipping with Jeremy. And today we're going to be talking about Bacoo Rum out of the Dominican Republic. So made on the south side of the island, Bacoo could actually be considered a state rum if it wasn't for the fact that their aging facility is 2 miles away from their distillery. But they are 100% cane sugar based. They are what you would consider a cane to glass production, meaning that they grow the sugar cane and they make it all the way through. Again, they're not a state because of their aging facility being 2 miles away from their production, but they're dang near close to being what you would call a state rum. The name Bacoo comes from a mythical creature of the Caribbean that can be found in empty rum bottles. Creature's kind of like a genie in some sense, or a little bit more like a leprechaun because of their height as well, I guess you could say. But the idea is, if you find a Bacoo, if you treat it well by feeding it bananas and giving it rum, it will grant you wishes. If you are mean to the Bacoo by not giving it bananas or rum, it will not be so nice to you either. Maybe put a curse on you, or maybe just make your life a little difficult until you're able to get the Bacoo back into the rum bottle and then throw it in the ocean for somebody else to find. That is the cool thing about Bacoo, is they are keeping to traditions of the area, giving homage to a mythological creature of the Caribbean, and they're using cane sugar, which is what most Dominican rums are made out of. So from Bacoo, we will be trying their 3-year-old, their 5-year-old, their 8-year-old, and their 12-year-old rums. With Bacoo's age statements, they put what the youngest rum in the blend is on the bottle. Kind of more along the lines of what you see with the rules of bourbon. But let's go ahead and get started with the Bacoo 3-year-old. So with the Bacoo 3-year-old rum, as I mentioned, that 3 years old is the youngest age of the rum that goes into this blend. And some of you might be asking, hey, if it is an aged rum, which means it would get color from the oak that it's aged in, how is this white? And this happens with a lot of rums. There are rums that have age statements on them, or rums that are a white rum that have been aged before, and that's just charcoal filtration that gets rid of the coloring. So what they'll do is that they'll blend together these different barrels, again being 3 being the youngest age that goes into this rum, blend that all together, and then they'll filter that rum through charcoal so it loses its coloring. So then you get this white rum that you have in front of us. Let's go ahead and try it. Up front, you get some really nice soft fruit flavors, a lot of banana to me. There is a little bit of a coconut kind of idea there too. Then the zip across the palate is this little bit of a like candied lime zest idea, like candied lime that just like hits your palate real quick. That leads into some softer cocoa, some really vibrant baking spices as well, a little bit of that oak spice characteristic. And then you get some really soft orange zest on the back end. This kind of gives you more refreshing finish. So nice little bit of layering of flavor here. There are a lot of soft details to this one, but this is just a really nice, easy drinking white rum. Definitely be used for a lot of different cocktails. You can even sip this one because there are a good amount of flavors here that will develop as you're drinking it. But this is definitely a great cocktail rum too. So let's go ahead and move on now to the 5-year from Bacoo. So one thing I did notice on the 5-year, 8-year, and 12-year label of the Bacoos is that they do mention that they are aged in bourbon barrels. On the 3-year, they mentioned that it's charcoal filtered. But yeah, so that's just, another note for what these spirits are aged in the Dominican Republic. Let's go ahead and try the 5-year. Up front, you get a good amount of butterscotch and coconut. That leads you to some softer kind of like toasted vanilla, a little bit of milk chocolate. Then you get this really vibrant combination of baking spice and then oak wood. So you get a little bit more of those spicy characteristics from the wood that these are aged in, those bourbon barrels, as mentioned before. As that softens up, you do get a little bit more of a toasted coconut here, and then you get some more of those butterscotch flavors on the back end too. So finishes off a little sweeter. Has a start that gets a little sweet too. Then you get that nice kind of savory break in the middle. Then it finishes off a little sweeter on the back end. Let's go ahead and move on now to the 8-year-old. And this is the 8-year Bacoo rum. Again, youngest rum in this is 8 years. They could be adding older stuff, but they're going with the age statement of 8, so we're going to call it an 8-year rum. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Out of the three rums we've tried so far, this is definitely the most woodsy. And what I mean by that, it just picks up the most characteristics from the oak that it's been aged in. So there are a lot of baking spices. There are a lot of like charred oak flavor here. There is some softer kind of mango fruit. There's some toasted toffee, a little bit of a vanilla bean kind of creaminess to it. But really it is the oak spice and those woodsy kind of flavors that are the most predominant. It does finish off with a little bit more toasted toffee and some of that softer kind of tropical fruit from up front. But definitely woodsy from the start to the finish with some really nice characteristics popping out outside of that. Let's go ahead now and move on to the 12-year-old rum. I will say, making videos for rum is a little easier than some of the whiskey videos I make because it's super easy when it comes to what the ingredients are for the spirit. For rum, for Bacoo Rum, the Dominican Republic rum, it is a sugarcane base and then it's aged. That's really all you need to know. But yeah, when it comes to like the whiskeys, there's different grains that are used and different percentages and then different aging and all that. With Bacoo, they are aged differently, but that's all. That's it. It's the sugarcane that they use and then how long it's aged. So it does make it a lot easier to make some of these videos. You don't have to have as many stats. But yeah, let's go ahead and try the 12-year-old. It isn't surprising that the oldest of these four expressions that we tried have the most developed of flavors here. Up front, you get a lot of those fruity characteristics. You get a little bit of that mango that I mentioned earlier, but more banana and more apple characteristics as well. That leads into some really vibrant baking spice flavors. That gets you to some more toasted vanilla, light butterscotch notes there too. But then it's really nice getting that more fruitiness, the more apple, more banana kind of comes out on that mid palate. And that just leads to a finish that has more of the baking spice oak flavors and then a little bit more of the toasted vanilla, more vanilla bean actually. So a little bit more creamier than the toasted vanilla, more of that creamy vanilla bean with those baking spices on the finish. So yeah, this is definitely one that you can, sip on, hang out with for a little bit and see how the flavors change as, your ice dilutes into the rum. Maybe pull out more of those sweeter kind of characteristics when that happens. But what's really cool about the Bacoo rums is that they're, pretty inexpensive overall. Their 12-year-old, the oldest one that they have, is under $30. And that's just really impressive for, having a 12-year-old rum. Again, statement of 12-year-old to the youngest rum being 12 years old that goes into this. Having such developed flavors and getting it for, a really nice price too. But yeah, these are rums you could use in cocktails, if you wanted to. You can sip them on their own because they do have a lot of flavor to themselves. So really nice versatile rums from Bacoo. Alright everybody, that's going to wrap up this episode of Sipping with Jeremy. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned a little bit about Bacoo rum as well. One thing I did forget to mention in the intro is that the Bacoo rums are made in a column still that is a combination of stainless and copper. But thank you for joining us. Hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any friends who like rum, feel free to share this with them. And hey, don't forget to check out our newest segment of Sipping with Jeremy shorts, which are where I cut out a lot of me talking, because I know I can talk a lot, and just give you all the reviews of the spirit. They're all under a minute. They're just a really quick thing y'all can check out if you're looking for more precise, just, hey, what are the tasting notes on this thing instead of the history. Thanks for joining us, y'all. Have a good one and drink well.